Hello dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Business Insider. Tonight we'll be talking about the role of AI, artificial intelligence, in improving the quality and empowering Arab and Middle Eastern women. And we'll be doing this in the company of Dr. Nevine Makram Labib. She's the director of the Social and Cultural Planning Center and professor of AI at Jamia Hamdard University in India. And she's also the possessor of an initiative, a Middle Eastern initiative aimed at improving the quality of life of Arab and Middle Eastern women and empowering them. A very good evening to you, Dr. Nevine. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Good evening.
Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. As always, Dr. Nevine, dear viewers, will first watch a report on the main topic for tonight, and then we'll come back and start our discussion. Please stay with us.
Minister of Communications and Information Technology Amr Talat inaugurated the annual forum of the Qudwa Tech Initiative for Women's Empowerment, titled The Future of Women's Empowerment in the Age of Digital Transformation. The forum was organized by the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology in March, coinciding with the local and international celebrations of Women's Day. The Minister of Communications stated that the success of the communications and information technology sector depends on its ability to adapt modern technology to achieve a social, economic and developmental impact in various sectors of the society. He pointed out that the Qudwa Tech Initiative, launched by the Ministry of Communications, aims to enable Egyptian women to use modern technological means to develop their projects and reach target markets. Talat explained that the celebration of the 5th anniversary of the launch of the Qudwa Tech Initiative coincides with the events honoring women both at the local level through Egyptian Women's Day and at the international level through International Women's Day. He noted that the percentage of women's participation in the communications and information technology sector is 45%. The Qudwa Tech Initiative has provided digital support to more than 11,000 women and entrepreneurs by graduating 55 training groups from all governorates in the craft and service fields, building their skills in digital marketing using social media sites. In addition, the initiative has held over 70 consulting sessions and an awareness seminar on topics supporting e-commerce, artificial intelligence applications, production of visual digital content and advanced digital solutions. The resident representative of the United Nations Development Programme, the UNDP in Egypt, Alessandro Frasesti, said that the UNDP supports Egypt's plan for sustainable development and its ability to overcome economic and social challenges by working on the main areas of sustainable development, comprehensive growth, strategic innovation and digital transformation. The forum's activities highlighted the effective role of the Qudwa Tech Initiative in investing in women's creative abilities and paving the way for women who own craft or service businesses to join the path of digital transformation. The advisor to the Minister of Communications and Information Technology for Digital Community Development and the director of the Digital Transformation Project for Sustainable Development in Egypt said that training programs were implemented within the framework of the Qudwa Tech Initiative for female workers in the holding company for tourism and hotels, which includes 10 tourism companies, to train them in the field of email marketing for their companies.
Thank you very much, Abir Hussein and Rasha Abdel Hamid, for this report, and welcome back, dear viewers. We're still with Dr. Nevine Makram Labib, who is also the chair of the Computer and Information Systems Department at Sadat Academy and vice president of a leading Egyptian scientific non-governmental organization, and we're talking about the role of AI in improving the quality of Arab and Middle Eastern women and empowering them, and Dr. Nevine has an initiative in this regard. Dr. Nevine, first of all, can we define not AI by itself, but let's say generative AI, which is the thing that you want to involve through the initiative with the aim of improving the quality of life and empowering Arab and Middle Eastern women. Generative AI.
Okay, generative AI, we're talking about ChatGPT, if you want to make things much easier to our audience, because with ChatGPT we're talking about an AI system, and again by AI we're talking about any system, any solution, any program, any machine that is trying to simulate human intelligence. So any machine or any program that is trying to perform what humans do is called intelligent. But with the generative, we're talking about a higher level. We're talking about a system that is able to initiate and that is able to generate new ideas. So we're talking kind of an assistant and sometimes a competitor, not only the normal, or let's say the traditional AI system for most of us, because for most of us we're talking about some systems that we delegate some tasks to the system, and the system can do the task under our supervision. But with the generative, we're talking about new ideas, like for example composing music, like writing a thesis and so on.
All right. Who's with you in the initiative? The non-governmental organizations, perhaps the private companies, governments, I don't know, who is dealing with, who are the members of, or the teammates in the initiative?
Okay, we started the initiative in Italy. I was actually invited in an event related to women in science. That's another initiative, by the way. And we started talking about how we can benefit and make use of artificial intelligence, especially the generative AI, to improve women's lives. We were talking about healthcare services, we were talking about providing better educational services, trying to deal with the gender bias, trying to deal with the violence against women, with sexual harassment, and all of these issues that are very crucial and that are being really discussed worldwide, and how we can make use of the technology. So it's not only that we as women were kind of experts in these technologies, but how we can make other women benefit. And that's how the idea started. And then we formed kind of a group, and we started with a company in Sweden and an NGO in Italy. And we're aiming at having different chapters. Of course, I'm thinking about a main chapter in Egypt, because since it is Euro-Mediterranean, but since I'm Egyptian, I would really like Egypt to benefit out of it, especially that, as we saw in the report, that our country is doing a great job regarding initiatives, regarding empowering women, regarding many rights of women. And by the way, we're in a very good situation compared to many other countries in the Middle East.
So when you thought of this, there must have been some issues that you wanted to tackle to improve the quality of life for Arab and Middle Eastern women. What are those issues that you want to tackle exactly?
Providing maybe mental health support to women, because sometimes we as women, we don't really like to talk about some problems or some, let's say, problems that we faced, whether in the workplace or in our personal lives. So maybe if we think about having a virtual assistant, which is actually a chatbot, that is being able to be there for us 24/7, to listen to the problems and to provide advice. It's kind of imitating the support groups.
You know what made me smile, Dr. Nevine, is when you said we women don't like to talk a lot
about some problem.
About some problem. So I'm sorry, but that drew a laugh.
Okay, that's discrimination.
No, I didn't mean it that way. But,
I know, of course,
but
I'm
excuse
joking.
me, but you know, you can't excuse me for smiling at this or questioning this. I mean, you women don't talk.
No, about some issues.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we witnessed lately some very bad stories of women and of young girls who were, for example, a girl that was raped, another girl. These problems that led
and this is where you
suicide.
said that we here in Egypt are in a much better situation than many of the countries in the world, especially in this area, about the safety and security and respect for women, girls and women in general.
We are empowered. If we talk about on the political level, for example, we're very empowered compared to the other countries. We achieved a lot during the last 5 or 6 years. And talking about economic empowerment, talking about equality in getting jobs. So we don't really face discrimination. That's why
and even in the legislation, I guess, there's been a lot of improvement.
Exactly. So we're not really suffering of political, of not having political empowerment. But sometimes we suffer from
old ideas, maybe.
The old ideas. That's why we need to focus on the image. Maybe sometimes even with the media, it does not give a good image of women. And that's very sad, because it's not the reality.
Do you know the famous TV, world-renowned TV series called Person of Interest? It's about AI.
It's about AI.
It's about AI, person of interest.
So
the reason I mentioned it now is every time the word AI or I talk about AI, and especially when I listen to you, I just remember that series, and I feel that you should have been there with them in that series, because most of the actresses or actors in that series talk like you, by the way.
Okay.
Person of interest.
I hope you like the series.
Yeah, very much, by the way. It's a famous, I think it's #1 when it comes to AI drama globally.
Okay.
Yeah, it must be #1. But, I mean, the way you talk is just like, there's something that's common. I don't know what it is, but anyway. So, surely some of the issues that you would want to tackle are related to education, right? Because anything related to education, by default, would influence the quality of women's life and society at large.
Yeah, definitely. So thank God that in Egypt, we're not really facing this. Maybe in other countries we're facing some problems regarding higher education and vocational training. But now with the initiatives, I think that we're trying to face this challenge and to make things better. Because you find kind of an equal opportunity for women and men to join these initiatives. But in some of the governorates, maybe girls face problems with their families, especially when they cannot reach schools in an easy way. That's how I thought about AI. Because with AI, maybe we can provide better educational services for these girls while they're staying at home. But that's assuming we have the proper IT infrastructure. That's
and how far are we from that?
We're doing a great job, but we still have many challenges, whether regarding the IT infrastructure or regarding some parents that do not see the necessity of providing higher education for their girls in some of the governorates. And that's, again, very sad.
You're talking mainly Upper Egypt, maybe?
Yes. Yeah, Upper Egypt.
Again, it's the old traditions.
Yes.
Yeah. So we need to raise awareness. We still need to do a lot when it comes to raising awareness.
Actually, I believe in media and in drama. This can change the mindset of people.
But the idea, I mean, you're laying out is great. I mean, so, yeah, because when you use technology, as you said, you'll be able to reach those girls and women at home. I mean, they don't even have to leave their own houses.
And this might solve some of the problems, especially for the parents who are sometimes really scared to send the girls because they're living in certain places that are not really suitable, as they think, for girls. So maybe that could be a good solution, a potential solution, but we need to provide the necessary requirements,
Right.
starting by the IT infrastructure,
Right.
starting by the programs, starting by the awareness, as you just mentioned. I guess that's the very important point.
Okay. Dr. Nevine, empowering women economically must be one of the goals of any initiative aimed at empowering women. So talk to us about that file, economic empowerment of women, and where can AI help in this regard?
It's the same model. We'll be able to provide some entrepreneurship courses for women while they're staying at home, taking care of their families. Sometimes they have babies, they cannot really leave the house. So maybe we can provide some programs, some platforms, and then educate them in this field, and trying to link them with some businessmen, maybe.
Or businesswomen.
Or businesswomen, yes. And then provide better jobs for them, again, while they can stay at home. So maybe they can achieve the balance, staying at home and having a career.
Healthcare is another important file, and when we talk about quality of life, I mean, healthcare is a top element always. So where can AI help in this file, women in the Middle East and in the Arab world?
The early detection of some of the diseases, the follow-up, which can be made through the IoT, Internet of Things. Then we can provide some wearables to women who live in some, let's say, underprivileged areas, and then the medical doctors will be able to follow up the cases. And by the way, our second potential project is providing a chatbot that can answer questions, because sometimes these women who are sometimes less educated, okay, or not educated at all, they need someone to answer their questions. So if we provide them with a chatbot that is talking in natural language, that's what we're aiming at, natural language processing in Arabic, slang, that's what we need, then maybe this system will be able to provide them with some answers to the
Great
questions.
idea. Slang.
Yeah.
So if you're in Egypt, you're going to be hearing the Egyptian accent.
Egyptian,
If you're in
yes.
Morocco, you're going to be hearing the Moroccan accent.
Exactly.
And so on.
That's what
Great
we're thinking
idea.
about, these two projects. So as to be, real. These are some real problems that we're facing.
Yeah, would you go into details as much as, like, if you're in Upper Egypt, you'll be giving them the Upper Egyptian accent, and if you're in the Delta, you'll be giving them...
Yes.
You would do that?
Yes, that's what we're thinking about. It's not going to be an easy project, but I think it will be very beneficial, because some of these women, they need advice, and they take it from...
Maybe some of them would be shy to ask some questions, or,
And since women talk a lot about these issues, then maybe they need someone to answer the questions, because really that's what happened. They go to some other people who are not professional, and the other people, you know our style, they provide advice, and sometimes with these advices, things can go very wrong. So if we provide them with a system that is on their mobiles and that is talking their language in a very easy way, providing an easy interface, what we call the user interface, the friendly user interface, then they will be able to use the system, and I think will be able to solve many problems related to healthcare services.
Indeed. Another important file that we talked about earlier is the safety of girls and women. But it's not just about protecting them from potential rare harassment, in Egypt at least, or violence, but it's also about securing their privacy, their digital, the privacy of their digital world, the privacy of their technological space. I don't know. So what about that?
Actually, that's a challenge, because if you want to protect women, then these women will provide you with many data and many information about themselves. So they will not have some privacy. But on the other hand, you will be able to protect them. Like, for example, if I share my location with you, let's say, okay, so then you will be knowing where I'm going all the time, which is okay in case that you're trying to protect me. But sometimes it's not okay because you're violating my privacy. So that's what happens. Like, for example, some applications that are trying to prevent harassment, that is sometimes in the online, let's say the dating apps. So in this case, the woman will be, or will have to, say that she's member of a certain online dating app, and then she will provide all the information so that the algorithm will be able to protect her. So although that's a very good point, but we're facing the privacy issue here. So we need to do kind of a balance, what to say and what to provide for people who want to protect us, and what to keep for ourselves.
Yeah, that's a very delicate issue, and I guess achieving the balance will be difficult, and the balance that would suit A might not suit B or
Exactly.
C. Yeah.
Because that's a fuzzy term, as we say. It's not really accurate. It's very fuzzy. What I consider like violating of my privacy, maybe it's different from another woman. So
right. So balance, and speaking of balance, there must be balance between work and home, and especially for working women. How can AI help those persons of interest to achieve that balance, knowing that those persons of interest, by the way, can be from different generations? I mean, it could be a woman in her 20s, it could be an elderly in her 60s or 70s. So how can we make that balance?
there are some apps, again, that make use of AI so as to provide time management, because that's a problem that we all face, especially women who have families and have work. Again, it's very crucial to do the balance, but it's not easy at all. So with these apps, the apps can do some, let's say, they can decide on the priorities of the tasks so as to make sure that the woman is taking care of her family while providing a good performance in the workplace. And
so
again,
the app would be making the choices?
It would providing some advice, and it will make the choice, and you can add other apps that can do the repetitive tasks that any of us should do. Like, for example, if you write all of the tasks that you're doing in your job, let's say, your job description, then you'll find that there are some tasks that can be automated. And then you're left with 2 or 3 tasks out of the 10, and with these 2 or 3, you will be more productive and more creative, and you will have more time. But you have to arrange, first of all, you have to set your priorities, and you have to delegate these 6 or 7 tasks to a system, after making sure, of course, that the system is trained so as to provide good performance, because we do not want to delegate tasks and then to face more problems.
But how likely will the person of interest, again, adhere to those advices? I mean,
it's our decision. I mean, the system will not take the decision for you. It will give you an advice. You should do 1, 2, 3, and then leave the other 7 to someone else, to a system. Maybe ignore, maybe postpone. You know, there are many scenarios.
But maybe some personalities would be reluctant to deal with such an issue, just from the standpoint of, you know,
Control?
I'm not going to be run. Yeah, I'm not going to be controlled or run by a machine. I mean, I control myself. I'm a free person. How challenging is this as well? Because I guess even if you provide your service to, say, 70% of society, say, and that would be, I think, a very big success. How many of them would have the standpoint I'm talking about? I mean, I'm not going to be controlled.
Most of us, most of humans are really scared to be controlled by machines and by AI. That's a main fear for all of us. That's why we're trying to make the app give advice, not take a decision. Because sometimes when the app takes a decision, then you feel that they're controlling you. And that's not a nice feeling for humans.
Very, very important point.
Yeah.
So most of us still fear machines. And I guess even if this revolution continues to expand as expected, this will always be here. I mean, the fear of being controlled and the resistance to machines and to technology in general.
Yes, and the fear of being replaced.
Oh.
Because sometimes you feel like, for example, if you're getting an assistant and then training this assistant, and then you're scared that the assistant will take your place. So it's the same with the machine. It's even worse.
Yeah, because you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that you're going to delegate some tasks.
Yeah.
So the task that you delegated to the machine has replaced you actually in 7 of the 10 tasks.
But we're delegating the tasks that are repetitive, sometimes non-productive, if I may say, sometimes risky. And we keep the 3 creative tasks, because else you end up not having time to do any creative work. That's a main complaint from all of us.
Yeah.
That you don't have time. When, for example, you ask a professor, what was the last chapter you wrote in a book, and then he says, I hardly have the time to finish or to prepare my lessons and then to talk to my students, okay, to do the main tasks. Whereas maybe if he thinks about having, if he or she thinks about having a chatbot that is able to deal with the frequently asked questions, at least, of the students, especially when you have like thousands of students in some of the courses, and then keeping the exceptional cases only to deal with in person, then maybe this same professor will be able to be creative and to provide a chapter that will be beneficial for the students. So maybe we should see things from a different perspective. Then you will be more productive, and then you will be more, you will provide a more beneficial work for your students, which is our main goal.
It's very ironic. So despite the fact that the world right now is living at the peak, now at least, because the peak continues to escalate, of the technological revolution, and already to reach that peak, mankind had to be creative. What's ironic here is that we are seeing a lack of creativity nowadays across all fields. And by the way, because I'm a big sports fan, which is the case, I'm telling you that there is a lack of creativity right now, say in football, which is the world's #1 sport, because everything has become machined. I don't know what the
automated
term.
Automated.
Yeah. Even, I mean, the greatest talents, they've become like machines. I mean, there is less creativity now and more like we have to stick by the book. If the ball is here, then we have to do this. And so everything is like chess now. It's not like, it's less creative.
Yes. And that's, as you just said, very ironic. Because we should have used the machines in a better way. So maybe that's our problem. We as humans, we're not using the machines in a proper way. Maybe we're out of our fear of control or of being controlled, then we're making use of machines so that now they're becoming generative and creative, and we are less creative and we have less time to do all of this.
Or maybe, and that's the last point I'm going to raise, and of course you're going to have the time to answer because we only have a minute left. Maybe I'm just going to put my theory that we have to do less with machines. Not because we haven't used it in a better way, but maybe we have to do less with it. I mean, get it down. I mean,
not really.
Slow down.
Not really.
Okay.
I think that we should delegate more work and keep even 1 or 2 tasks, like the example I just gave you for the professors. We really don't have time to work on research. And by not doing research, we're creating problems.
Yeah.
So because research is there to help solving community problems. So maybe if we delegate many of, like for example, the marking, the interviewing, dealing with many problems with students, and then we keep like the exceptional cases and the teaching, of course, reading books, getting to know more about our discipline, especially when you're in AI field. It's very challenging. And then having time to do research and cooperation and collaboration with other researchers from other countries, sorry, then things will be better. So using more of the machines in a better way.
Okay. And staying creative, because we
Yes,
need
definitely.
creativity. I mean, it's sad. It's not only ironic. It's sad to have less creativity across the board. Dr. Nevine Makram Labib, the chair of the Computer and Information Systems Department at Sadat Academy and the Vice President of a leading Egyptian scientific NGO. It's been a great pleasure having you with us, as always. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching Business Insider. This is Mohammed Abdelrahim, and this is Good Night.